Hello, welcome, guys. Uh, so here we go. What question do we need to go? Yes, rotten or just yes, nice. There is a new feature, I think so. It looks like hmm, ChatGPT. Anyways, here we go. What does this question says first? We have to read it. Rotten oranges. You are given a n grid where each cell can have one of three values. 3 वैल्यू हो सकती है सेल की m/n ग्रिड में. फर्स्ट 0 जो कि एम्प्टी सेल दिखाता है. 1 that represent a fresh orange not oranges, uh, and 2 represents rotten oranges. Rotten means basically सड़ गए हैं. Every minute any fresh orange that is 4 directionally adjacent to a rotten orange become rotten. 4 directionally होगा, definitely it's a BFS, breadth first search. And also the question is saying that we have the orange will become rotten 4 directionally. जैसे एक रियल में एक टमाटर ऑरेंज बेसिकली एक सड़ा हुआ टमाटर खराब कर देता है, वैसे ही कुछ. रिटर्न द मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ minutes that must elapse until no cell has a fresh oranges. So we have to return the minimum number of minutes that कि कितने समय में ये पूरे सेल के टमाटर नहीं ऑरेंजेस would become rotten. So let's create the solution, or we can say equation. So what we will be doing, we will we have to, you can you can do there are multiple ways to solve this problem, like ways to solve this problem. First is using BFS, breadth first search. Second is TFS, depth first search. And yeah, and also there are multiple ways to execute it, like recursive way and iterative. Iterative would be definitely needed to go with the queue. And why we cannot go with the BFS? Because we have to find the number of oranges, minimum number of orange time. So basically we can eliminate this thing. So now we have to go with this one thing. So we will take the BFS with iterative intuition. So we will initialize queue and initialize queue with all rotten oranges first, जो कि represent as 2. तो जब हम लोग rotten oranges को पुश कर देंगे, initialize कर देंगे, then we will execute BFS using queue, जिसमें हम लोग करेंगे yeah, you know what, I made a trick like top, then pop, then explore. Yes, So basically we will do this and then explore the children's and count the time. Yep. So, yes, that's it. And we also have to initialize the queue with two things. Basically, the first is the orange, the location, origin, or you can say the location of the element. Like अगर यहाँ पे इसमें ऑरेंज में अगर ये फर्स्ट रो है और फर्स्ट रो में हम लोग रॉटन ऑरेंज मिला है, तो हम लोग उसको पुश करेंगे तो आई और जे उसका 0 0 होगा। तो 0 0 होने का मतलब है कि हम लोग आई और जे दोनों ही पुश करेंगे। यहाँ पे आई पुश करेंगे, जे पुश करेंगे, बेसिकली हम लोग को एलिमेंट पुश करना है। तो उसके बाद फिर हम लोग टाइम पुश कर देंगे। नाउ we have to execute it. Yes, too. Now we don't need this part. We can make full out of it. So first part is extract the size m. But I have a habit of taking the m into n. This will be the row and column of the thing. Now initialize q. So q, then you can use the tuple, or there is a way like pair int and pair int, but this is a pretty difficult, so that's why I use tuple usually. And q, which will be storing q dot push, and no, not right now, we have to initialize q with all the rotten oranges. So what we will be doing first, we will iterate on the grid. Iterate on the grid with I++, and for now this is for the row, particular row, iteration on a particular row. So oops, n. Yes. Now and these, now j++ increment the j. Now if we have found the fresh oranges, we have to ignore it. We have to only initialize the rotten oranges first. So here we go. What type of oranges are rotten? That is 2. Now push it into the queue. Q dot push I, j and time. बेसिकली रॉटन ऑरेंजेस को 0 टाइम लगेगा क्योंकि वो पहले से ही सड़ेंगे डेफिनेटली. So that's why I'm doing this. Now BFS using Q. Yes. First we have to take the time and maximum time. Basically it's a minimum time, but किसी भी मान लो कि अगर इस रो से अगर ये डायग्राम है और इसमें हमारे पास एक रॉटन है, अगर बीच में भी एक रॉटन ऑरेंज होता, देन डेफिनेटली इट वुड टेक 1 2 and then 3. This 3 step will be considered, and then agar ye rotten hota center wala, then 1 2, then out of 3 and 2, 3 will be considered because all the oranges needs to be rotten first. So we will be taking the maximum time it will take. So here we go. Now next time 0. Oops. And so yes, 0. Now we will iterate it on it in the queue. What do we have to do first? Intuition says BFS and then top pop. So here we go. While q dot empty, we will iterate till the q dot empty, जब तक कि q खाली नहीं हो जाता है. And auto, we have to take the auto and row, column, and the time from q dot front, and we will pop it because we have taken all the values from the queue directly. If you would be using the pair instead of tuple, then you will need to call it like first and second. So I think this is more efficient. Now exploring children's, how we will be exploring. So there is a method of exploring the children using delta. We all know delta array. You can learn it from the somewhere else, but that delta array is more efficient. That if you wanted to go from, yeah, you can just learn it from somewhere else, or I will be posting a video that how it works. So we will be using it now for I0, I smaller than 4, I plus plus. Now I usually take the, like this is the children, so children's row, children's column, but I usually take new R, but nowadays I'm taking an R, then R taking from here plus delta I. Now where is this coming from? Here is it coming from. Vector delta. Don't get surprised that what exactly I'm doing is just delta array. You will be taking the values from here up to this for the rows, and for the column from 0 to -1. So you would be iterating all the 4 direction of the particular node that will be chosen. dt and I plus 1, as I said, which will be taking values from 0, then 1, then 0, then -1. And it will be taking -1, 0, 1, and then 0. I don't need to explain it right now because now we will be taking the condition, Boolean condition for boundary check, that it must not cross the boundary. So what we will be doing is nr must be greater than 0 and nr basically must be smaller than m, basically under size of the maximum row, and then nc must be greater than 0, then nc must be greater than smaller than n. Now condition check. Now if boundary check is done, then what we have to do is we have to check that the tomato nr that neighboring tomato or orange, sorry, neighboring orange, that is neighboring orange is fresh or not, because it doesn't matter that if the tomato is already rotten, then we don't need to go. If it is not rotten, then we have to go. So yes, now what we will be doing, we will make it rotten. Rotten the oranges and push it into the queue. See, time +1. Every single time, whenever we would be going, I will store the maximum time, max time and time, and we will be returning the maximum time rotten oranges. Now I think it's still, there's a problem. I don't know. Let's see. Yes. Okay. This is causing a problem because it must be giving the answer -1, because we cannot rotten the orange. If the neighbor orange, I think we don't need to mark it right now because we are counting the shortest time. But, hmm. And yes, I think the question is also saying that if this is impossible, return -1. So when will be it impossible to rotten all the oranges? When there would be no oranges around the rotten orange. So there is a third condition. There we go. So the third part is if there is no fresh oranges around rotten orange, then what we'll be doing? We have to iterate on it, and then we will check that is there any fresh oranges exist, then return -1. Else you can get the maximum time. Hmm. Problem. I plus plus, yes. J. It's a typo mistake. Anyways, let's run. Yeah, that's it.